Liza Lawrence here with episode 15. Everything happens for me, not to me. A woman's journey through depression. Welcome to Wonders and Miracles podcast, where we celebrate miraculous moments in everyday lives. I'm your host, Liza Lawrence, a wife, mother, teacher, and miracle lover. If you're new to this podcast, here's what we do here. Each week on Miracle Monday, we celebrate awe-inspiring true stories from regular people like you and me. People who have experienced something surprising and wonderful that could be considered the work of a divine source. My desire is to help us recognize God's hand and His love in our lives, because the more miracles we notice, the more miracles happen. Thanks for listening to the show. Now let's celebrate wonders and miracles together. Proverbs 11:17 and Romans 12:2 says, "A merciful man doeth good to his own soul, but he that is cruel troubleth his own flesh. And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God." So today you'll hear a woman's journey through depression and the miraculous vision that created such learning and growth that changed her life forever. But first, a plug for the podcast. So this is the final week of the Share the Miracle giveaway. And this is to help me spread the word about Wonders and Miracles podcast. I so appreciate all your help. We've reached many more people, so thank you for this month of sharing. If you still haven't done that yet, here's what you do. Go to my Facebook page, Wonders and Miracles podcast, or my Instagram account at Wonders and Miracles, and you should see a post called Giveaway. Follow the 3 easy steps to get your free Bible-based guided meditation album. It's so easy. You follow it, you like it, and you tag 3 friends. And then make sure you go to this link to tell me where to email your free meditation album. Here's the link: wondersandmiracles.weebly.com/social-media-giveaway.html. I have the link on the instructions, both on Instagram and Facebook. So just, if you can copy and paste that into the browser, that would be great. Or just type that in and tell me where you'd like me to send you those free Meditations on the Mount album. I will say this: if you'd like to sample some meditations, go to meditationsonthemount.com, and there's free samples you can listen to decide if you want the regular album or the one for children. Both are beautiful. These are Bible-based guided meditations. So thank you so much for helping me spread the word. You have 1 more week to get a free album and continue to help me spread wonders and miracles. So I'm excited to get started with this episode, and I'm excited to share with you a conversation that I had with my sister, Emily. That's who I'm interviewing. This episode's a little bit different than most. She will share her miracle, but then we get into a really great discussion on what she has learned through this depression experience. I hope that you walk away with some new insights that maybe change your perspective and view of this journey we call life, especially if you've ever struggled with darkness. And I'm guessing that most of us have. If you're on this journey, I'll bet you have. So let's get started. So I'm here with my sister, Emily, and she has had such a beautiful transformational journey over the last few years. And she's going to share with us the miracles that she's seen through this journey, through her life, and some of that experience. So Emily, thank you so much for being on the call, and let's hear what you have.
Thank you, Liza. I am excited. I just always love visiting with you wherever we are.
Yes.
So today, I just wanted to share one of the biggest miracles for me personally in my life that I have experienced. And it's a little bit different than the miracles that we typically talk about, where it's an outward change or physical manifestation of a miracle. Miracles take many forms, and sometimes they manifest themselves physically or in this material world, and sometimes they manifest themselves emotionally or psychologically. or spiritually on that level that we can't really see, and only the receiver understands the impact of that miracle. So, my story is more of a psychological, emotional, and spiritual miracle. I spend a lot of time reading, and one of the books that I'm into recently is A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. And prior to that was even, of course, in miracles. And so as I've gone through life's journeys, the things that I've read and learned from those books have really stood out and helped me understand my experiences better and have taught me the miracles. I love that you say the more we see, the more we, how do you say it?
The more miracles we notice, the more miracles happen.
Okay, yes. I love that because I do think it's an awareness thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when we live in a way that we are aware of the miracles that are happening in our lives, more miracles happen. The gratitude fills us. Our lives become so much easier and more beautiful. So I love that. This experience happened to me back in 2010, and I experienced an emotional trauma that really shifted me into a depression. And I had never experienced living with depression. I'd always been a pretty healthy person emotionally, pretty even keel on everything. Kind of annoying. I'm not like super excited or super low. I'm just pretty steady.
And the truth is, growing up with you, you were the stability in my life, just that grounding constancy. You were always very emotionally constant. It was great.
Oh, good. Thank you. Well, yes, that's how I've been. That's just naturally how I operate through life. And it's very comfortable for me. So this emotional trauma that sent me into this depression, the depression itself was unnerving to me. I did not know how to live in this darker space, and the space that I felt out of control in my mind, and with my emotions. And so as I experienced this depression, I found myself hating myself more and more. It was very dark, and it was really, really painful. I found myself over and over saying, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? And hating myself for having this experience. I just kept thinking, if I can let go, if I can forgive this experience or this person, then I can be done with this depression. And every time I would start to feel feelings of anger and start to feel the pain and start to dwell on the events, I would then hate myself and think, again, all the feelings of what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Why can't I just be done with this? Because in one moment I would say, I can forgive this. I can let this go. But then 2 days later, I would sink into this depression again. And it was really, really hard for me to be in that space. And about 9 months into this roller coaster, I was blessed with a vision from God where I was shown what I was doing to myself. And through it all, I had been pleading and praying and asking for a way out of this, and for God to accept that I forgive, now take away all this pain, right? And so I had been working really hard, probably even too hard in a way.
Yeah.
If I just do enough, if I just try a little harder, if I just act a little kinder, if I'm just a little bit more righteous and can prove that I've forgiven and prove that I'm beyond this, then I can be done with this experience. And it wasn't going away. So about 9 months in, I received this vision, and it was like my Heavenly Father coming and saying, Emily, let me show you what's happening. Let me show you what you're doing. For me, it helps to relate things in a physical world so that I can understand them emotionally. So if I can see it, I can easily translate it into emotional or spiritual. So that's how the Spirit taught me this. So I was shown a relatable journey on a physical level. And you know how the Spirit talks to me, it's just so kind. Like, oh, Emily, let me help you. Like you're just a sweet child. And so the feeling in the story that I was shown to help me understand my own story was, Emily, it's like you were driving down the road on this beautiful day and you were hit by a drunk driver. It's not your fault. It just hit out of the blue. You didn't even see it coming. A few months into it, you kind of wake up and realize, oh my goodness, my life has been changed. And realizing things are different now. And sorry, can you cut out all the crying? Anyway, that things are different and you have sustained injuries. Your injuries are emotional, so we can't see them. And if it were a car accident like this, you've broken a leg in multiple places, you've broken some ribs, you are just coming out of a coma and becoming aware of the ways life as you knew it was. So coming to that awareness is extremely painful. And then realizing now I'm going to have to wait for my leg to heal and learn to walk on it again. And the Spirit said to me, it's like, so you're awake now, you've come out of this coma, and now you're seeing your injuries and you're starting to get back on your feet again. But what you're doing to yourself is that every time you stand up and you go into that physical therapy to work on your leg and that leg hurts, what you're doing is you're grabbing a hammer and you're hitting your leg and going, stupid leg, I hate you, or hurting. So it was such a valuable lesson to me that what I was doing is that every time I would feel the pain as I was healing from this emotional trauma, I was pulling out this spiritual hammer and hitting myself and saying, stop it, stop feeling this pain.
And even thinking, I'm broken or I'm wrong for feeling this way.
Yes. So I had a perception that if I had forgiven, that I wouldn't feel the pain anymore. And it was very clear when I could see it on a physical level that, say I had been hit by a drunk driver, if I had forgiven that drunk driver, my physical injuries wouldn't go away. Right. The moment I said, I forgive them, I'm going to let this go, I would still have to heal from these physical injuries. So it helped me to see that I wasn't as bad as I thought I was. It wasn't about, if I could just forgive, I would be fine. So I learned a lot about forgiveness in that process, that it is a process, and that to forgive doesn't mean that you don't feel pain and that you don't still have to work through your own issues that may be a result of what happened, but they are yours now to deal with. So I had been dealing with that for 9 months, and then overnight seeing that vision and understanding that helped me to immediately release an expectation that I had on myself, that I should be better than this. I should be beyond this. I shouldn't be feeling any more pain or anger. So immediately I started to live differently, that when the pain would come, I'd go, oh yeah, I'm still healing, instead of hating myself and reliving this experience, just going, oh yeah, I'm still healing, but I'm getting better. And I noticed from that point on that my healing started moving very quickly. And I journaled extensively on this experience, which is awesome because I can look back and see the massive change and growth that happened in me. So the depression was about just over a year. And then about 2 years later, I had done a lot of self-work. I had done a lot of healing. I was at one of the strongest points, I felt like, in my life. And I had a moment of fear come in. And in that moment, I cried out to God and said, oh, I never want to go back to that space again. Please, please don't ever make me go back to that extremely painful place ever again. I don't know if I could handle it. And in my mind, I was thinking, don't ever let that happen.
The circumstance.
Yes. And the revelation, the voice that I heard back was literally, you will never experience that kind of pain again because you have changed. And I remember hearing that and feeling that and how it hit me to the core of the power of that miracle that I had changed. And I knew it. And I was so grateful. And also in that moment, I knew that it wasn't a reassurance that my circumstances would be better, but just that I had changed. And the truth is, a couple months later, life hit even harder than it had before. And I was hit with things that were, by outward appearance, much harder than what I had gone through 2 years previously. But the miracle again in that was that I clung to that promise and to that knowing within me that I had changed and I would never experience that kind of pain again, which was the personal abuse and non-acceptance of myself. The experience that I had was very, very different because inside of me, I was very different. I just saw this quote that I had written down from A Return to Love. She says that it is a shift in how we perceive a situation or a shift in how we experience the experience. And so the experiences, the circumstances that honestly kept coming at me for a few more years, from the outside, they looked a lot the same. But the way I experienced them completely changed through these miracles of mentally, emotionally, spiritually healing.
And those are the miracles that are so deeply personal and unseen, but incredibly powerful to you personally. These types of miracles that you're talking about, the psychological miracles, the shift in perspective, are probably deeper, life-changing experiences than maybe a physical healing would be.
Mm-hmm. And it has changed my whole life. It's been really awesome as I go through. I don't resent or regret any of the experiences that I've had, because I look at them and I see the kind of person that it has helped me to become, the shifts that I have been offered to make in my mind that have been huge and that have made all the difference in how I live my life now, how I see my life, and how I relate to other people in my life. Where just a beautiful gift that I am truly grateful for.
It's funny, our journeys have sort of paralleled one another, different circumstances, but very parallel in our growth. And just the beauty in those painful experiences. And I remember having a conversation with you on the phone through this one time, and I said, there will come a time when you will be grateful for this experience. Do you remember that conversation?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And when you're in it, you simply cannot see out of that. And I remember feeling a spark of kind of like, I know, but I'm angry about that.
Right. I don't want to be grateful for this.
Right.
And I remember that was sort of how you were like, there's no way.
Right. And just angry. I was angry, so angry. And now absolutely it is one of the experiences that I look on and I just go, oh, I am so grateful. It is because of this experience that I have become more of who I want to be.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is actually in A Course of Miracles, but it says, our greatest tool for changing the world is our capacity to change our mind about the world. And I love that because for me, that's what it has been. It's been a journey in learning to change my mind, to let go of beliefs, to let go of self-hatred for not being certain ways, which allows me then to get in a space of offering that to other people around me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a quote, and I'm looking for it, and it talks about how this journey in life, it's to remember that we are love at our very core, at our very essence. We are beings of love. And when we live in fear or those dark places, which they hit all of us, and God knows that, that's part of our journey. There's a quote, sometimes people think that calling on God means inviting a force into our lives that will make everything rosy. The truth is, it means inviting everything into our lives that will force us to grow. And growth can be messy. The purpose of life is to grow into our perfection. And that is to get back to that being of love that we really are. And these messy experiences, these hard experiences, we're growing in our emotional strength, our spiritual strength, our mental strength. And those are huge miracles. Well, I guess it's harder to acknowledge those private miracles that only the receiver gets because it's not a public affair. It's not something that people will notice necessarily from the outside looking in, but so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. It is, and it's hard to articulate because it is that interchange, that inner experience that I see and I know, and you know a lot of it going through it with me, but something that's hard to articulate just to anyone.
Here was a great quote. Taking responsibility for our lives then means taking responsibility for our thoughts. And praying to God to save our lives means praying for him to save us from our own negative thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Because I feel like that's been the value of this journey, is learning that. I mean, you look around, I think the people in the most painful places are the people who haven't taken responsibility for their own thoughts yet. And it is a work. It is a work, and I mean, God, you've been on this journey with me too, and we've been on it for close to 10 years.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm getting a real grasp, but it was 5 years of hell to get to that part where you're going, okay, now I'm starting to be able to live it, but it takes a long time. It is.
It's a process. Here was another great quote. When we say, I accept the Christ within, means I accept the beauty within me as who I really am. I am not my weakness. I am not my anger. I am not my small-mindedness. I am much, much more. And I'm willing to be reminded of who I really am. And that's kind of that process of God reminding us, no, I understand that you're in a dark place, and there's no judgment there.
Yes.
From God, but I can help you remember. I can help remind you who you are. And that sounds like your journey, that vision that you had of, when you say these mean things to yourself and criticize yourself and beat yourself up, you're not remembering who you are, but you're causing more pain than you need.
Yeah.
In this moment.
For sure.
Anything else you want to add?
Oh, one of the things I would add is through this experience, one of the life mantras that I do say now that comes to me frequently as I experience life is everything happens for me, not to me. And so as I go through life and circumstances that may be painful or hard, or people that may be choosing poorly and causing pain, I quickly recite that in my head. Everything happens for me, not to me. And I find the way that this experience is going to offer me growth. And that's the other thing that I've learned through this. We are happiest when we are growing. And oddly enough, through all of these experiences, there was just a sense of pride in a good way. I am learning so much. I am growing so much. And the ways that I feel like I learned and have grown so much is in my ability to love, to truly love another person and be able
yourself.
And myself. And I think that's the key. It has to come first to yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's the miracle, being able to truly accept these growing opportunities to learn to love myself to a degree and in a way that I've been able to extend it to others in need, helping them see where they might be stuck in their own head and their own self disappointments and judgments, and helping get to the place of allowing and accepting and taking our experiences as growth and opportunities rather than I'm so weak and terrible for having this.
There's a quote in A Course in Miracles that says, it's not up to you what you learn. It is merely up to you whether you learn through joy or through pain. And most of us, we learn through those deep lessons of pain until I think we can learn through joy.
Well, and I think often we think we're learning more through pain because those experiences are so stark. They stand out to us. They feel so impactful. Mm-hmm. But when we're able to start to receive more of the love within and without, I think we do start to treasure those little moments of joy that are
Yes.
teaching us. And without really realizing it, we are then learning through joy
Yeah.
and through love rather
Mhm.
than through the pain. We let go of the pain faster and move
Yes.
more quickly into a space of love. So I do think we learn through pain, but I think that stands out to us more. They kind of hit us hard. And then we grow and we change and we love and we start to really treasure the little moments of love that are teaching us.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do. I used to tell people that, we can learn in darkness and we can learn in light. We can learn in pain and in joy, but our learning can be quickened when the lights are on. When you're stumbling around in the dark and you're hitting your head and you're stubbing your toe and you're kind of grappling for, I don't get it, I need to see. The minute you turn on the lights, and the Lord is the light that turns on in our lives, as soon as that turns on, that is a miracle. We go, oh, I
Yeah.
can see now and I get it. And that's when our learning is quickened and we can learn much faster in the light. But unfortunately, most of us are struggling through the pain for a while until we can turn the lights on.
Yes, beautifully said.
Thanks for this awesome interview. Like I said, I've been along this journey with you, and it's been such an amazing journey to watch you go through. And we've both kind of
Yes,
grown together through
we
this.
have. And thank you for being one of my anchors through that as well. That's another miracle I feel like that we've been with each other through our experiences in this life that have offered us great growth. We've been there to kind of hold each other at the times when we've had the toughest
Mhm.
growth.
Mhm.
And that's been a miracle too.
It's been such a blessing. We're 18 months apart, and we're best of friends and still are. And you've been much of a miracle in my life, and I feel very blessed for that as well.
Well, thank you, Liza. I'm so glad you're doing this. This is really awesome. I love that you're getting this out there, that the more we see, the more we see. You know?
We could quote that.
Okay.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Emily. I love you and appreciate you sharing your journey and your miracles through it.
Thank you, Liza. Thanks.
All right, well, that is the show. I just love and admire my sister Emily so much. And I love all my sisters. There's 5 girls in my family, 6 with my mom, 1 brother, and I have amazing sister-in-laws and mother-in-law, and I just love sister power. And I just wanted to say, if any of you are struggling with depression or darkness or pain, know that the Lord is there to help you. He wants to lift you. He wants to teach you. He wants you to grow. And He is interested in your growth, and He's interested in your happiness. So I hope this episode perhaps helped you on that journey and gave you some ideas and insights on the things that might be helpful for you. All right, so next week we are going to start with Christmas Miracle Month. It's the month of December. I love Christmas. And we're going to be sharing some fun Christmas miracles that I'm really excited for you to hear. So make sure you spread the word. Keep telling people about the podcast. I think that if we can uplift as many people, that is so powerful to do. And especially this Christmas season coming up, because that is the spirit of Christ and the spirit of love. So let's keep spreading the word. Make sure, if you haven't yet, participate in the Share the Miracle giveaway. A couple other ways to help spread the podcast is to first subscribe to the podcast, give it a rating and a review. iTunes is the easiest one that I've found, and I have a tutorial on Instagram if you don't know how to do it. So thanks so much for everyone's support. Today, I want to read for the Fan of the Week. This comes from Melissa. She says, I love that there is finally a podcast dedicated to praising God and His infinite goodness and help. Thank you for sharing these miracle stories. I now look forward to Mondays. Thanks, Melissa, for that review. If you want to hear your review read, go write one. And just a big thank you to all those that listen and support. It motivates me and keeps me going. So thank you so much for listening, supporting, and sharing the podcast. Also, I hope you consider sharing your miracle stories. It's a really easy process. We talk over the phone or over the computer, and then I can edit whatever we need to edit. I've had people who've done an interview and they said, oh, I was really nervous. And then afterwards they're like, wow, that was fun. That was really easy, a lot easier than they thought. So if you have a miracle story that you've been thinking about, that you've been a little nervous to share, go ahead and submit it on my website at wondersandmiracles.com. I'd love to visit with you about that. Proverbs 11:17 and Romans 12:2 says, A merciful man doeth good to his own soul, but he that is cruel troubleth his own flesh. And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. I really hope that you can think of a time when you felt God's love in your life and a time when you felt like you were growing. And at this Christmas season, I just want to wish you a Merry Christmas and hope that you notice the Spirit of Christ in your life at this time. And as always, remember to notice and celebrate the miracles everywhere, because the more miracles we notice, the more miracles happen.